calls to investigate Soros funding allegations. Panda attack in China. Hi, I'm Natasha Hussain and you're watching Cuppa News. The Deputy Prime Minister says an extensive investigation must be carried out to determine if Hungarian-American billionaire George Soros did indeed fund the Bersih movement, Merdeka Center and Malaysia Kini. This after a leaked document on DC leaks from 2015 outlined the minutes of a meeting discussing strategies for Malaysia's general election by the Open Society Foundation, which is funded by Soros. The document states that the businessman had a personal interest in Malaysia's elections and for that reason had funded Malaysia Kini. The meeting was also attended by Merdeka Center for Opinion Research Director Ibrahim Sufyan, who when contacted by The Star, said he only gave his opinion to OSF on civil society groups in Malaysia.
Bagaimanapun yang penting bukan soal siapa dan kenapa pembiayaan itu dilakukan, tetapi ialah tentang soal penglibatan pihak luar. Kerana politik di Malaysia adalah mengikut acuan yang sesuai dengan politik negara kita. Jadi tidak perlulah kita jika benar pun untuk melibatkan pihak luar, apatah lagi melakukan pembiayaan terhadap mana-mana aktiviti politik sama ada menentang atau menyokong bagi mana-mana organisasi atau individu di negara ini.
Yesterday, Red Shirt leader Dato Sri Jamal Yunos claimed that Soros funded Bersih of a whopping $3.2 billion since 2007. His claims come a mere 3 weeks after he alleged that the electoral reform movement has links to the Islamic State. Meanwhile, in Parliament, several BN lawmakers called for a probe to look into the allegations of foreign meddling.
Amat ketara ada campur tangan daripada luar negara dalam politik Malaysia. Dan saya mohon kerajaan siasat betul-betul.
Liang labelled the meddling as treason and a clear attempt to topple a democratically elected government. Now, Prime Minister Dato Sri Najib Razak is in China for a 6-day official visit aimed at strengthening long-standing bilateral ties between Malaysia and China. Najib, his wife Datin Sri Rosma Mansor, and his entourage of ministers arrived in Beijing this afternoon. His official itinerary will start tomorrow with a welcoming ceremony at the Great Hall of the People, followed by a bilateral meeting with Chinese Premier Li Keqiang. The two governments will sign over 10 agreements and MOUs in the areas of defense, economy, agriculture, education, finance, and construction. Najib will call on Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday, besides meeting Chinese business leaders and deliver a keynote address at the Malaysia-China Business Forum luncheon. Prior to his trip, he tweeted about the milestones achieved by Malaysia and China, highlighting significant Chinese investments in Malaysia and the 101 billion ringgit bilateral trade both achieved in 2015. Former Second Finance Minister Dato Sri Ahmad Husni Hanadzla was called in by police over his speech that touched on 1MDB in Parliament last week. This meeting, however, was not meant to be, as cops postponed it at the 11th hour. Husni said the meeting, in which he was required to have his statement recorded, could be held next week. Last Monday, the Tambun MP spoke up against 1MDB, questioning the need for the investment fund in the first place. 1MDB's rationalization program to settle its multi-billion ringgit debt was under the purview of the former minister, who resigned from his post and other UMNO posts in June. In Parliament, a commotion erupted over the police probe on Husni's 1MDB speech. The incident began when Gelang Patah MP Lim Kit Siang asked Deputy Speaker Datuk Sri Dr. Ronald Kiandi to make a ruling against the Inspector General of Police's action to investigate what Husni had said. Bagan MP Lim Guan Eng pressed on, demanding an apology from the IGP for impinging on the immunity of MPs.
Saya minta Tuan Speaker buat ruling. Minta dia hentikan penganiayaan atas ahli parlimen terhadap Yang Berhormat Tambun.
However, Dr. Kiandi rejected the opposition MP's request.
The presiding speaker memikirkan bahwa ianya belum sampai ke tahap untuk diberhentikan. Itu saja. Jadi soal kedua adalah soal untuk speaker buat ruling supaya IGP memberhentikan. Saya rasa saya tidak boleh buat ruling ke atas itu. Setakat ini saya tidak boleh.
Outside Parliament, Ketere MP Tan Sri Anwar Musa said the police action to investigate Husni does not necessarily mean that they are breaching the parliamentary immunity enjoyed by MPs.
Ada perkara tertentu dalam parlimen yang tidak tertakluk kesemuanya di bawah imuniti ahli parlimen. Ada perkara-perkara yang di parlimen yang masih tertakluk dengan peraturan-peraturan dan undang-undang tertentu. Misalnya kalau kita menyentuh perkara-perkara tertentu yang melibatkan Raja-Raja Melayu, yang melibatkan unsur hasutan, yang melibatkan fitnah tertentu, dia masih tertakluk pada undang-undang yang tertentu. Don't send wrong signal to the public saying that just because somebody in parliament mentioned about 1MDB or DOJ or whatever, then they are investigated. No.
In other news, Kelantan Police Chief Dato Dr. Abdul Rahman Ismail confirmed that the 4 victims who were found dead in Kampung Tanjung Hile Bekelam in Bachok yesterday are Myanmar nationals. He said the victims, aged between 22 and 31, were killed during an argument over religious matters. He said 9 men armed with knives had chased the victims from their workplace in Kampung Tanjung Mulong. The Higher Education Ministry said that 753,058 former students who took loans from the National Higher Education Fund Corporation, or PTPTN, had not repaid a sen, resulting in them owing 5.191 billion ringgit to the corporation. The ministry said in Parliament that as of August 31st this year, about 1.92 million students who took the loans had completed their studies. Malaysian singer and actress Su Winchi said she made a lot of sacrifices to getting to where she is career-wise and in terms of academics. The talented artiste and businesswoman can now boast being the first Miss World Malaysia to receive a doctorate after graduating from Open University Malaysia.
You will see Wincy alone because I don't have time for relationship or my friend. I'm very workaholic because I started I started already. I need to complete it. So I thought that I couldn't complete it. That's why I asked my teacher, it might take me 8 or 10 years. But at 6 years, I did it that time, I said that, wow, thank God.
Now, after a dramatic campaign period with plenty to talk about, Americans go to the polls on November 8th to elect their next president. And many of them who cannot make it home have already voted right here in Malaysia. The expats mail their absentee ballot papers to U.S. polling centers, either via the American embassy or by themselves.
During the second administration of the Obama campaign, we did not vote. And we didn't vote because we were adjusting to living overseas. But this election is absolutely necessary.
This is a critical time with the 2 candidates up. One of the candidates is very outspoken of how he would run America, and it's a good time to make sure that our vote is out there and is counted.
I've lived overseas for the last 3 presidential elections, and I'd say this time alone I've received several phone calls from the United States saying, have I voted? Because people are really reaching out and really pushing that all of us get out and vote.
They said the final showdown between front-runners Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump has disappointingly turned out to be a battle of personalities rather than real policies and political positions. And the fact that Trump was picked to run until the end showed the frustration of Americans towards their government.
There's a real deep-seated dissatisfaction in the American public with how government has been approached in the past, and they would like government to address those.
This one just seemed to be a lot more jabs back and forth about, well, your husband did this. Oh, well, you run a business. Oh, it was getting away from what are the issues that we need to know as Americans to make our vote.
They also said living overseas probably makes them see things better than being in the States, hence Clinton is their clear choice.
Looking at Donald Trump, I don't think he would be good for America, especially in the eyes of all of the international world. My vote was definitely cast for Hillary Clinton, and B, it'd be kind of pretty cool to have a woman president.
I think Trump is trying to echo what he feels are a lot of the pains of the people. The only issue with him is he doesn't really map out how to address these pains or these arguments. You can't be a backseat driver. You can't call out problems and not offer solutions.
I have no problem voting Republican, but in this case, Democrat was my choice. And voting from a state like Idaho, where I have a house, that is a very Republican state. So it's unlikely that my vote, if it makes it there, would ever even be opened.
In world news, after the disappearance of a legendary Chinese sailor Guo Chuan for 6 days at sea, over 1,000 ships from the China Overseas Shipping Company have launched a search and rescue operation to look for the sailor. The 51-year-old has started his solo trans-Pacific voyage from San Francisco on October 18th, and Shanghai was supposed to be his final destination. Guo's wife believes he will be fine and will come back soon.
所以他是个做事情很严谨、很有依据的人，所以我觉得他不可能不穿救生衣。这么多中国的船去了，我觉得真的是个爱国主义了。中国的船到达他的旁边那么多，1艘、2艘、3艘，据说还有很多艘，所以我觉得他很快就会回家了。
Guo's support team last heard from him on Tuesday afternoon, but had since failed to contact him. U.S. Coast Guard searched for him off Hawaii and came across his yacht with only his life jacket in it. It was pandemonium in China's Nanchang Zoo when a man entered a panda enclosure to show off to his female friends last Thursday. In a lucky twist of fate, he escaped without injuries but a slight tear in his trousers. During the incident, the panda named Mei Ling was awoken from her sleep and gripped the man's leg. A zoo official said the man fled after the incident, and the zoo had conducted medical checks on the panda, which appeared to be fine. In sports news, F1, Mercedes' Nico Rosberg was denied the chance to take the world title with 2 races left when he came second in the Mexican F1 Grand Prix. Rosberg's teammate Lewis Hamilton was too fast for him to win the race, cutting Rosberg's lead to 19 points.
Lewis has been too fast this weekend, so I just have to accept second place. You know, we've had some massive battles out there.
It was amazing because all these people. Viva Mexico!
Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel took the 3rd place when Red Bull's Max Verstappen was penalized after the checkered flag for gaining an advantage when going off the track. And that wraps up Cuppa News. Have an awesome night.